You're listening to the Concord Podcast. I'm Kurt, joined as always by Taylor and Noah, and we are the pastors of Concord Baptist Church. All right, well, welcome back to the Concord Podcast. I am joined remotely because we're being extra safe given the recent rise in COVID by Noah and Taylor. You may be here because you got a flock note saying that there were some announcements at the front end of the podcast. And so we're going to go into that first, but stick around. If you haven't been watching the podcast, it's every 2 weeks we post one of these, really just to try to be an encouragement. Sometimes they're serious, sometimes they're not. This week is one where it's definitely not. We had a little debate about Thanksgiving food a week ago, and we're going to have a similar debate about Christmas, which Christmas movies are best and why, what's the best snack, worst decoration to have to set up, and worst Christmas song. So if you want to see both the holly jolly side of your church staff as well as the bah humbug Grinch side, you're going to want to stick around. But as far as announcements go, we wanted to let you know about two things. Taylor's going to tell you about the first one. I'm going to tell you about the second one. So Taylor, tell us what's going on December 12th and 13th.
Yeah, we're really excited to have an event to offer to everybody free of charge. We don't have an exact name for it yet. One thing that we're kind of tossing around is something to the effect of Concord's Christmas in Color. We're going to have a 20 to 25 minute light show, and it'll be outside. It'll be pretty much a drive-in thing. You get in your car, you pull into the front of the parking lot from the sanctuary, and you may be asking, well, how are you going to do that? Well, the front of the church is going to be your projection screen. We're going to use a high-powered projector and project a video image and several intense lights onto the front of it, and you will be able to tune into all of that at a given radio station that we'll tell you about later on, and be able to enjoy it both warm and dry and with your family and socially distant. And so we're really excited to be offering that on the 12th and the 13th as well.
So that's going to be after dark on the 12th and 13th?
Yes, it'll be at the earliest. It could be at 6 o'clock. And so we'll set a time before Sunday, and we'll let everyone know. Great.
And you said this is going to be similar to, if you've been to Disney, the kind of the light show and the projection on the Magic Kingdom castle. Is that right?
Absolutely. We will take up every square inch of the front of the church construction figure, from the pointed pitched roof all the way to the columns and the steps, and it will all take place as a projection screen, just like the Cinderella's castle at Magic Kingdom.
That's awesome. Our praise team is going to be a part of that with some music that they've recorded. There's going to be a message from us, a little bit about the birth narrative of Christ. So you're going to want to join us for that. But we're really excited. That's December 12th and 13th. So that's announcement one. Announcement two is just, please be sure either to be here this Sunday or to tune into the service this Sunday. We recognize we've got a good number of questions from you guys as our church family asking, hey, we're seeing the news, we're looking at the COVID numbers and some of the stuff that's going on. You know, are we paying attention to that? And the answer is yes, we're very much paying attention to that. Our plans right now have not changed, and we're still masks are still required for services, and we're still keeping everybody safe that way. But we are going to take some time during this week's service just to kind of talk as a church family about where the situation around us is at, what we're paying attention to. And we haven't done this a whole bunch in service, but obviously if you've been following what's going on, the numbers are pretty significant right now. So we're just going to talk about what we are looking at as church leadership, what the staff, what the deacons have been looking at, just to kind of make sure you know how we're making decisions. And so that's going to be coming up this Sunday morning. You're going to want to be here or tune in online for the service. So with that said, that was the announcement portion. Let's get to the fun stuff. Every Christmas season, TV shows and movies are a big deal. Many families in our church tune into the Hallmark Channel. Many of our wives are big fans of the Hallmark Channel. You know, it's a time of year that we really grieve in the Mize household because sports don't get the primary place on the TV. Yeah. We have to watch the same plot line on the Hallmark Channel, just with different actors. And if you were wondering how I feel about Hallmark movies, there's a little bit of it. But let's have a conversation about the best Christmas movie, obviously, because we are pastors and we have been ordained. Clearly, this is the Lord's opinion that we're going to espouse here. And so if you disagree with us, well, I'll just leave it there. But this is we're not Catholic, so this is not papal infallibility. We're not speaking infallibly, but it's pretty close. So we'll just go around the horn, starting with Noah. Noah, what is the best Christmas movie of all time, and why?
So I have a very abnormal take on this. I don't typically hear other people who share this opinion. Growing up, the only Christmas movie, we watched a ton of Christmas movies, like the TV shows do the like 31 days of Christmas where they play one. We did that just with DVDs at the house. My mom loves Christmas. My family has always loved Christmas. I always liked the claymation Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie the most.
Good stuff.
Just because it wasn't all the other ones, and no one else in my house really liked watching it, which meant we didn't watch it a whole lot. But that is my go-to like favorite Christmas movie. Also, claymation is just really cool and impressive. Awesome.
Good stuff, Dave.
Yeah. Do you remember, Noah, do you remember the one with the, was it Rudolph that had the Toy Meister or the?
Yeah.
Was that Rudolph? Yeah. He was always impressive, like how they made an evil figure out of, anyway. I would say that it has to be, and it's backed by history, A Christmas Carol has to be the best Christmas movie out there. It is, I mean, it
is there a version of it, like animated, Jim Carrey?
Well, the plot line's the same. I like them all. Being a history guy, I like the original one, set in that time frame, as being black and white and English accents, and I just think it's along the way they've made some modern improvements to certain renditions. But however, you know, it's a good feel-good story because he gets a chance to do it over again, and he buys the turkey and gives the presents, and you know, it makes you feel all warm and fuzzy. And if you watch it like my wife, it gives you a chance to take a nap because she can't stand the thing. However, it's my favorite.
Well, I mean, there's many more years of marriage ahead of you for sanctification, so that's good. I'm a little bit more of a classical person. Home Alone is about as good as it gets.
One or two?
For me, they're close. One is probably the best, but two is not bad. Three is should have never been made. So that's up there. Elf is pretty good. I'm more, you know, like a lot of things in life, I'm defined by what I think are the worst. And so It's a Wonderful Life and Miracle on 34th Street are both struggles for me. You know, I know that they're classics. I know that lots of people love them, but they do put me to sleep. So yeah, that's where I'm at on the movies. I know a lot of people think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I'm agnostic along those lines, but
well, hold on. So Die Hard is not a Christmas movie because why?
I'm not exactly sure, but every time a discussion about Christmas movies comes up, someone says, well, Die Hard is the best Christmas movie, and I'm always in the dark as to why.
Well, see, I was thinking that would come up because you said Home Alone, but I typically don't really remember the Christmas side of Home Alone when I think of that movie. I just remember Kevin and burglars and shenanigans.
You're right. It really is just the ending, like the ribbon on the end of the movie. Christmas. I mean, that's it.
Well, it takes place at Christmas time. He always gets abandoned at Christmas, which is a wonderful sentiment to show our children. You know, it was made as a children's movie. So like, Merry Christmas, your family's going to abandon you seems to be the message. And then you go into the Boy Scout side of things of you need to be prepared. So that's good.
I'm not afraid anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I never found Marv all that scary anyways. Joey Pesci, on the other hand, is just a terrible human being. But let's move on from the movies to the hotly contested area of Christmas snacks. One of the joys of working in the church is that oftentimes people bring food by, and you know, because we're Baptists, there are very few poor cooks in a Baptist church, and so we end up having to be, you know, rolled through doorways by the end of the Christmas season.
Yeah, I mean, recently we had somebody bring a spectacular apple upside down cake, and just prime example number one of how fortunate we are to be.
That is true. That is
in
true.
This
Yeah.
career.
So let's talk about best Christmas snacks that you have had. We've done the Thanksgiving meal food, so we're gonna stay away from like banquet food. But yeah, best thing to snack on at Christmas. Noah, we'll start with you.
Okay. I typically don't go for homemade snacks, given that I don't cook. Elena is she likes to bake, but that kind of just started this year, and so homemade Christmas snacks are not what comes to mind. Every year at Christmas time, it is time for me to pick up Little Debbie's Christmas snack cakes from the store.
Hey, praise.
They're made of the same ingredients as the non-Christmas snack cakes,
but they're different.
But they're better. Yeah.
The Christmas tree shaped brownies with the green frosting on top. That's the best go-to.
Yes.
That's a perfectly respectable answer. It's hard to find fault with what you've said, but Taylor, what about you?
And Noah, to take that point a little further, there is very little that can compare to the satisfaction of that first bite of the top of the tree. Like if sometimes the top of the tree will fall off in the package, and it's not. I feel like it's a little less of a satisfying experience.
And if anyone is in the other direction, you're a monster.
Yes, that's right.
So people who eat from the trunk up, just are doing it the wrong way. Yeah. Okay. So
I gotta say, my family's always made Christmas cookies, like sugar cookies, and we frost them, that kind of thing. So I have a soft spot for the Christmas cookie, and recently in the last few years, I've had a real hankering, but an enjoyment for the Christmas fudge, because you don't often see fudge brought out unless it's Christmas. And I don't know why. That's an appropriate every year, every month, all year round dessert. Fudge.
It's true. That's a good point. Yeah, these are things that we should meditate on and ponder in our hearts. I find myself, given your answer so far, just inclined to be abnormally conciliatory. I don't have any disagreement. I mean, I'm equal opportunity Christmas snack person. My mom does make the best Christmas snack. It is a slight step up from Little Debbie. Everybody loves Girl Scout Thin Mint cookies, but my mom makes this these particular type of cookies that have Andes mints melted in the top of them and then hardened. And I mean, you can eat 14 before you know you've eaten any, but they are, I mean, it's
one of those you walk in the room and smell them before you see them.
Yeah, whole house. Yeah, whole 9 yards. It's like a brownie kind of cookie, like a dark chocolate brownie with Andes mint on top. They're spectacular. And so, it also a little bit of like edginess to them, because when my mom, when we were younger, she used to make cream de mint brownies. And you have to buy cream de mint at the liquor store. And so there was always a competition, because I grew up Baptist, and my mom and her best friend would take turns every Christmas going to buy the bottle of cream de mint so that they could both
driving to Florence.
There's a little bit of, there's a little bit of like illicitness to the dessert, but then she moved to Andes mints and you can get them anywhere. So that was always a good time. So that covers the food, and that's been the best of. We covered Christmas movies and snacks, but we need to talk about the things that plague us, that drag us down, that steal our joy, things that don't spark joy at Christmas. So I do need to know what the worst Christmas song is. We all have those pieces of music that come on the radio or come on, the playlist, and it's just a knee-jerk reaction. You want to throw, a significant piece of Christmas decorations through your speaker. What is that song for you, Noah?
So that song for me, I don't know who sings it. It's one of the few Christmas songs that are just super low bass notes, put you to sleep while you're driving down the road. The I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas.
Bing Crosby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one is, I'm never in the right Christmas mood for a slow, kind of depressing melody.
It is the melatonin of Christmas songs. It does put you right.
It brings no excitement. It's just...
But it is a peaceful song. His voice has been described as like drinking a warm glass of milk. So, I can see that. I'm partial to the song, but I understand why you don't like it. Taylor, what about you?
Mine is, yeah, it always strikes me odd or interesting, I guess is the better term. It's interesting how many people always go to a different song at Christmas. Like we all may like the same music, but when it comes to a Christmas song, everybody has strong feelings.
True.
But I don't know if I think it's called the Christ family, Crist. I think they're the originators of this song, but it's old timey. I love those JINGLE bells. They spell out jingle.
As if we need help.
Yeah, it's
spelling
terrible.
It's terrible.
And if you want a more current one, anything that those stupid chipmunks sing, I can't handle it. Like, you want a hula hoop? I'm happy for you. Like, come on.
That's fantastic. Good deal. Yeah. So
artist to hate.
Alvin, one that doesn't actually exist in real life is a good way to go. You won't offend anyone. Mine is I do have two similarly to Taylor. The first is Santa Baby. I don't care who's singing it. It's just a horrible song and should be burned. Back in I think it was the 70s, the White Sox did a burn disco promotional night where people brought their disco records, and they were going to have a barrel burning of the disco records, I believe during the 7th inning. The game actually had to be shut down. It may have been before the game. The game never actually got played, but it was a promotion, and people ended up throwing stuff on the field, and there's a big fire, and it was just absolute chaos. You can look it up on YouTube, but I feel like that would have been a more appropriate promotion if it were just recordings of Santa Baby, because that's what needs to happen. And then the other one is just Christmas Shoes. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the song that no one wants to say should not be played at Christmas because it's so sentimental. But, I mean,
it's the depressing song of Christmas.
And for all of you that are listening right now, at some point in the next week to 2 weeks, each one of these hated songs will be played from another's office as a shout out to the one coming into the building. Like, it will.
That's true. I work with the
walk-in music.
Yeah. Yeah. But, Christmas Shoes, like, no one's car ride to see grandma or mom and dad has ever been made better by.
Sir,
Christmas
I want to
shoes.
buy these shoes.
Yeah, no, it just needs to stop. And I'm willing to step out on a limb and stand on, my convictions and say that.
How do you guys feel about the Dominic the Donkey?
Dominic the Donkey?
Oh, it comes on the radio every year. Dominic the Donkey. He delivers the presents in Italy because Santa's reindeer can't climb the hills.
I've never heard of such.
Well, you need to listen to it because many children like it.
Dominic the Donkey. Oh, man.
I'd say that's a new one. That's a new one.
Yeah. We'll have to look that up. Reserve judgment for a later date. Dominic the Donkey. All right.
I just said it exists.
Thank you for broadening our horizons, Noah. All right, last one. Because we're all men and have wonderful wives that we would gladly lay down our lives for, but have to draw the line at certain Christmas decorations. What are the Christmas decorations that test your sanctification the most? It may be one that you own specifically, or maybe just a general category. But there's always one in every family. Noah, what is the one that you have a hard time with?
So the one that I hate to put up the most, though it is my favorite, like once it's done, how it looks, the outside lights on the house. Just because it is such a tedious process of wrapping and tacking it up and wrapping it some more and plugging in strands to see if they work. I mean, what should be like a 30-minute ordeal becomes an all-day affair of going to buy strands that were broken. And
if you're anything like Griswold,
see if it even looks
it's all day.
Yeah.
But it's worth it at the end of the night when you plug it in, your whole yard lights up.
Yeah. My dad taught me everything I know about exterior illumination, and it it is a struggle. I will admit, I've not even had to hang from a gutter like Clark Griswold. And yeah, good deal. Taylor.
I don't know that I necessarily just have this is like the most curmudgeon thing you'll hear, but my least favorite is whatever is new that season, because we don't throw anything out. We just add to the collection. And so whatever is new, I know I have to find more room for.
That's true. You find yourself buying a bigger house every 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I mean, I only have so many empty bags that I can just put stuff in.
Now, has your wife seen the 30-foot tall Santas and Frosties they have at stores now?
I don't know, but
hold on, I'll text.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. Y'all do know for the offertory this week, we're doing Christmas shoes medley into White Christmas.
See, this is what happens. You try to help someone out and they just throw it in your face.
That's right.
Well, for me, the particular decoration that I struggle with is it's new this year, is the Christmas tree. Previously, we had the ceiling in our garage at our last house was, what I would consider to be a normal person ceiling. But unfortunately, the ladder that goes up into our garage attic space in the current house I think it's 47 and a half feet tall. It feels like that. And we had to get a new Christmas tree last year because the lights went out on ours. And so I got a new one, and it's made out of solid lead. And that thing tries to kill me as I'm trying to back down the ladder. My 2-year-old son was worse than useless in helping get it down. I tried to, trying to give him responsibility and help form him as a man, and tried to send him up, just told him to bring down the Christmas tree, and he couldn't do it. For those of you who are watching, maybe you work for DHR, that was a joke. I'm kidding. I didn't really do that. But that thing, you get it out sort of dangling over the hole, and you're going down the ladder, and you tilt it, and most of its weight's still on the top in the attic. And then there comes that point of no return, right? Yep. The point where your life is at its most tenuous, and when the weight shifts and it begins sliding. And so you've got to make sure it's like a form tackle. You want most of your frame sort of on a parallel line, not targeting, but close with the Christmas tree, so that you can back down slowly. Because if you are upright and you see what you're hitting, you will do backflips all the way down.
So what is Jen doing during all of this?
Mostly laughing. Mostly laughing would be.
Hey, Noah, you know what would help him in this process is a second hole in like another hole in the attic. Like maybe it leads into the garage. Yes.
Well, folks, it's about time to do performance evaluations for the staff. And so we're going to have to leave it here because Taylor and I need to have a conversation. What he's referring to was just a few weeks ago, while up in the attic because of fall decorations, not Christmas decorations. I was worried about the ventilation in the ceiling. And so I created a perfectly engineered triangular ventilation.
Sunlight.
No, not quite sunlight, just more attic light. But I found that a size 10 Asics tennis shoe, when put in just the right place, will actually create the size hole that was needed. I blame whoever laid out the decking in the attic. It's all their fault. I was trying to serve my wife as Christ serves the church and gives himself up for her. I tried to give myself up for her. But unfortunately, I only made it shin deep through the ceiling in the attic. And so,
did your light flash before your eyes?
It was boring. Yeah, to quote Dory. It didn't flash before my eyes, but I did see red for a few minutes. Thankfully restrained the anger. The Lord intervened. I didn't say anything that I would regret or would cause my children to need to go to therapy. So I consider that a win all the way around. Thank you, Taylor, for allowing me to share this with our church.
All right. So last thing, White Christmas or no White Christmas? Do you want it? Do you want to wake up on Christmas morning and and snow be everywhere? Do you want a White Christmas?
Noah.
Yes. So I grew up in Phoenix City I talked with Taylor about this earlier this week. I mean, he grew up in Scottsboro, where apparently it's just common to get, 6 feet of snow every winter. But I grew up right here in Phoenix City, where I think I've seen maybe 3 or 4 good snow days in my life, which means that in the event we do get a snowy day, especially on Christmas, I am like a child who's never seen snow before, finding things to sled with, trying to learn how to drive on ice, throwing balls at my wife until she yells at me. Absolutely. I will take a snow day any day I can get it.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up not very far from Taylor, about 35 minutes. And snow was not all that common. It did happen, but not enough for it to lose its magical appeal. So yeah, I'm all for a white Christmas. I need, Christmas, I want to be holed up in the house anyways. I don't want to be traveling. And anything that will give me an excuse not to have to do that, I think is wonderful. It snowed right after, right before our son was born. He was born in January. It snowed right before that, and we had a blast sledding and doing all those things right around Christmas time, right after. So, yeah, I'm all for it. Taylor?
Oh, without a doubt. As long as I'm stocked up on my milk and bread, let it come by the pound.
Absolutely.
So if we get a good snow day, we're going to have to record some staff sled tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds good.
Build ramps in our front yards.
For sure. You just don't, if it's yellow, you don't want to eat it.
How deep is our pulpit supply list? Because if we do that, somebody's breaking something.
Yeah, it's okay. We'll wheel whoever's preaching up on stage. So that's what wireless mics are made for. All right. So thank you for joining us. We'll let you go at that, but we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Until then, God bless you. We love you. Stay safe.